GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Our top story tonight. Montreal has delayed approval of a new school and park extension as officials await population data. Traffic remains clear, and tonight's concerts feature Deep Purple with special guest Kansas. In other news, a public funeral will honor jazz legend Oliver Jones. Over to you, Emma.
The Piquet Hobby Mega Market opens this Saturday at the Montreal Convention Center, featuring over 300 vendors, rare cards, tournaments, and collector workshops throughout the day.
Entry is free for families, with a discounted child pass available. The event runs from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. and includes a live demonstration of card grading.
Special guest appearances include a renowned Pokémon illustrator conducting a live drawing session at noon, and a veteran collector sharing stories from 30 years of hobby history.
The market also hosts a charity auction benefiting local youth programs, with proceeds supporting after-school clubs and a surprise giveaway for early arrivals. Lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories. Montreal has postponed approval for a new school and park extension as the city seeks confirmation of projected student population growth, following recent enrollment analyses by the School Service Center. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
City officials are still holding back approval for a new elementary campus and park extension, saying they need hard proof that the neighborhood school-age population will rise enough to justify the project. Mayor-appointed Liaison Martinez Ferrada told a press briefing that the Centre de Services Scolaires de Montreal has just released updated enrollment forecasts, and the municipal administration will not sign off until those projections are verified. The council's opposition has kept the site, currently a vacant lot near Jean Talon Street, idle while planners review the data. Both the school board and the city say the next step is a joint review of the growth models before any construction can move forward. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Park Extension.
The city's blue-collar workers union announced it is weighing a strike that could coincide with the UCI Road World Championships set for September. Union officials said negotiations with municipal employers have stalled, and members may walk out if an agreement is not reached before the international cycling event. The championships, which will draw athletes and spectators from around the globe, are slated to take place on the island's road network, relying on municipal services for traffic control, sanitation, and public transit support. City officials declined to comment on the likelihood of disruption, but warned that any industrial action could affect road closures and crowd management plans. The union has not set a definitive date for a work stoppage, but indicated the decision will be made in the weeks leading up to the competition.
Tonight, a public funeral will gather friends, family, and fans of the late Oliver Jones at Union United Church in Little Burgundy. The celebrated pianist, who first touched the church's keys at 5, passed away on July 22 at 91, leaving a legacy that shaped the city's jazz scene. The service, scheduled for Monday evening at 6 o'clock, will feature tributes from fellow musicians and a performance of his most beloved standards. Organizers expect a sizable turnout, reflecting the deep respect held for a man whose improvisations echoed through clubs from the plateau to the village. City officials have noted his contributions to cultural life and the importance of honoring an artist whose music bridged generations. The ceremony will remain open to the public, offering a chance for the community to celebrate a lifetime of melody.
A Polytechnique Montreal laboratory is spearheading research to bolster Canada's pandemic readiness, addressing gaps revealed by the COVID-19 crisis over the past 6 years. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Inside the high-tech corridors of Polytechnique Montreal, scientists are coordinating a national effort to bolt the gaps exposed by the COVID-19 crisis. Over the past 6 years, the laboratory has become the hub for research and development aimed at fortifying Canada's pandemic readiness. Teams are testing new vaccine platforms, refining rapid diagnostic kits, and modeling outbreak scenarios to give health officials faster decision tools. The work is backed by federal funds and partnerships with hospitals across the province, all focused on shortening the lag between detection and response. As the world watches, the campus feels the weight of a country counting on homegrown science to keep the next wave at bay. Ramai Godro, GMNA News, Côte des Neiges.
Royal Canadian Mounted Police have secured the return of an ancient Peruvian ceramic bowl discovered in the city earlier this afternoon. The artifact, dating to pre-colonial times, was identified after the Peruvian embassy lodged a formal repatriation request through Global Affairs Canada. RCMP officers working with embassy officials located the bowl in a private collection and arranged its safe transport to the consular office for handover. Both the embassy and Global Affairs Canada confirmed the piece will be shipped back to Peru within the next few days, underscoring ongoing international cooperation on cultural heritage. Authorities said the recovery demonstrates the effectiveness of diplomatic channels when illicit artifacts surface. No arrests have been announced, and the investigation remains open to determine how the bowl entered the local market. The operation unfolded in the downtown district close to the historic Old Port. Later we'll dive into the new Montreal series that reveals daily life of police undercover work. Plus more, we will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. City officials confirmed that a vacant downtown structure gave way in June 2026, sending debris onto the sidewalk and prompting an emergency response. The collapse sparked a law press investigation led by Elise Lacadet, which uncovered a series of other at-risk properties across the island. Among them, a historic hotel on St. Laurent continues to welcome guests despite noticeably sloping floors that city inspectors have flagged as unsafe. Municipal authorities acknowledge that prolonged neglect has left many aging buildings unstable, endangering nearby residents and businesses. While the city retains legal tools to enforce repairs or demolition, critics say enforcement has been uneven and resources stretched thin. Officials say they are reviewing the findings and will prioritize actions on structures deemed an immediate public hazard. The report urges the mayor's office to issue emergency permits for safety inspections within the next month.
A new series, Cœur Policier, follows SPVM undercover officers as they infiltrate criminal networks across Montreal, narrated by former double agent Lorraine Leblanc, offering a rare glimpse into daily police work. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Inside a modest studio, the camera rolls over a gritty montage of downtown alleys and quiet cafes, while the voice of former SPVM double agent Lorraine Leblanc guides viewers through the hidden world of police infiltration. The new series, Cœur Policier, follows officers as they assume false identities, plant themselves inside drug houses and monitor street markets, all in pursuit of evidence against organized crime. Leblanc, who spent years operating behind the badge, explains the constant tension between maintaining cover and protecting public safety. Scenes show the painstaking surveillance, the covert exchanges, and the moments when an undercover officer must decide whether to intervene. The series aims to give Montrealers a front-row seat to the unseen work that keeps the city moving. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Montreal. Today at St. John's Harbour, Prime Minister Mark Carney will join Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Tony Wakeham and Quebec Premier Christine Fréchette to unveil a multi-billion-dollar energy pact centered on the Churchill Falls hydroelectric project. The federal government, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Quebec say the agreement will reshape the decades-old power arrangement and launch the largest clean energy investment ever recorded in North America. While the details remain under negotiation, officials stress that the deal will channel billions of dollars into new infrastructure and joint initiatives that expand renewable capacity across the three jurisdictions. The announcement marks a coordinated effort to modernize the historic Churchill Falls contract, positioning the region for long-term sustainable power generation. The leaders will present the proposal later this morning before a crowd of industry representatives and local officials.
The province's own Auditor General has issued a stark warning. Quebec will need to slash at least $2 billion from its spending beginning in 2027 if it hopes to stay on course for a balanced budget. The report released this week flags a growing fiscal shortfall that threatens to derail the government's long-term financial plan. Officials say the cuts must be embedded in the upcoming budget cycle, targeting discretionary programs and operational costs across ministries. While the auditor did not prescribe specific line items, analysts expect tough decisions in areas such as infrastructure projects, health spending adjustments, and public sector wage growth. Premier Christine Freychet has pledged to work with ministries to identify savings, but she acknowledged the challenge of meeting the auditor's target without compromising essential services. The province will present its revised fiscal outlook later this year.
The Parti Québécois has hired journalist Stéphanie Martin from Journal de Québec, aiming to strengthen its communications as it gears up for the autumn provincial election. Remy Gaudreau has the full story.
The Parti Québécois confirmed today it has brought journalist Stéphanie Martin on board, pulling her from her role at the Journal de Québec. Party officials say the move is designed to strengthen their communications as they gear up for the provincial campaigns slated for this autumn. Martin, known for her political reporting, will join the party's media team in the weeks leading up to the fall election. The announcement came on August 17th, as the PQ finalizes its strategy for the upcoming vote. Observers note the timing aligns with a broader push to refresh the party's public messaging ahead of the critical election season. The party expects Martin's expertise to shape its narrative in the months ahead. Remy Gaudreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Now let's hand it over to the weather team for tonight's outlook. Stay tuned.
A steady mid-level jet from the west locks in warm air, while lingering high pressure holds clouds at bay. On this date, the all-time high reached 30.7 Celsius in 2015, a brief spike during a late summer heat wave that rattled the region's records. The record low, 11.4 Celsius, fell in 2025, an unusually cold snap that followed a sudden polar vortex dip. By contrast, the climatological average high sits around 24 Celsius with a low near 16, underscoring today's modest warmth. The live radar shows a band of moderate echoes gathering over the northern Laurentians, marching southeast at a brisk clip. By 9 p.m., the core will brush the island's eastern fringe, then disperse as the jet stream aloft pushes the moisture eastward. Expect the showers to exit Montreal shortly after 9, leaving clear skies by 10. With the radar quiet now, the atmosphere remains dry and stable, allowing us to shift focus to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m., Montreal sits under partly cloudy skies, temperature hovering at 23 Celsius, humidity 68%, and a gentle southwest breeze of 5 kilometers per hour. A near-average high-pressure system is holding steady, preventing any major frontal intrusion. Overhead, a strong westward jet streams at 116 kilometers per hour, anchoring the mid-level flow and steering any lingering moisture away. Consequently, no precipitation is expected through the night, and the low will dip to 16 Celsius after sunset. UV index stands at 4, and wind remains below 25 kilometers per hour, so no wind advisory is needed. No active weather alerts are in force as we transition to the 5-day overview. Tuesday will be overcast with a high of 25 Celsius and a low of 16, as the same high pressure drifts eastward, allowing low-level clouds to persist. Wednesday clears to a bright sky, high 23 and low 17, but a 40% chance of rain returns in the afternoon as a weak trough nudges the jet stream, injecting modest moisture. Thursday rebounds to clear conditions, high 24 and low 16, under a rebuilding ridge that reinforces sunshine. Friday sees another overcast spell, high 24 and low 16, as the ridge weakens and low-level fog banks form. Saturday finishes the stretch partly cloudy, high 25 and low 17, with the ridge strengthening again, promising a pleasant end to the week. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic stays clear. The Canadians' top 25 list just dropped, and Good Food's creditor protection story heads next. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. I'm Emma Leclerc with your traffic update. All major routes are clear this afternoon. Autoroute 6 runs free from the east side to the west, and Autoroute 15 shows smooth flow through the north. Downtown streets like Boulevard St. Laurent, Rue Sherbrooke, and Rue St. Denis are moving without delay. No accidents or construction are reported at this time. Transit remains on schedule with the metro and bus lines operating normally. Looking ahead, expect a gradual buildup of vehicles around the downtown core as office workers head home after 4 o'clock. Light rain is forecast for the western boroughs, which could add a thin layer of slickness on the highway shoulders after 5 o'clock. If you're heading toward the airport, keep an eye on the approach road to the south. Traffic typically thickens near the terminal after rush hour. That's the picture for now.
Deep Purple takes the stage tonight at Place Bell, joined by special guest Kansas, delivering classic rock power for fans of all ages. If you're hunting for a nostalgic thrill, this is the night to hear those iconic riffs live. Piquet Hobby Mega Market buzzes at Mount Royal Center, where you can buy, sell, and trade Pokémon cards in a friendly community vibe. It's the perfect spot to complete that elusive deck. As dusk falls, Parc La Fontaine lights up with La Nuit des Mille Bougies, a candle-lit evening of glowing displays and music that turns the park into a magical gathering. Bring a blanket and let the soft light set a relaxed tone for the weekend. Looking ahead, tomorrow Miles Smith launches his My Mess, My Heart, My Life tour at Place Bell, promising soulful storytelling and a fresh indie sound that's already generating buzz. Mark your calendars and stay tuned for more Montreal moments. And now here's Jason with sports.
Montreal's roster twists, rising prospects, and a goalie's breakout dominate today's headlines. Jard Davidson's season split in two. After a hot start, 9 goals and 2 assists in 13 Rocket games earned him an NHL debut. His production stalled, finishing with 7 goals and 7 assists over his last 40 games. The dip raises questions about his role on the Canadiens' forward depth moving forward. Jacob Dobish cracked the NHL Network's preseason list, landing at 10 among the league's elite netminders. The recognition validates his rookie breakout and puts pressure on the Canadiens to lean on him as the starting option in a competitive Eastern Conference, especially with the goaltending market heating up. Every summer the Habs spark debate by turning the captain's armband into a contest. From legacy leaders to emerging voices, the franchise's rotating approach fuels locker room dynamics and keeps fans guessing who will wear the C next season. It's a tradition that shapes identity as much as any trophy chase. LJ Mooney refuses to let size define his ceiling, pointing to Cole Caulfield and Lane Hutson as proof that stature won't limit impact. With the Canadiens sitting comfortably under the cap, Mooney's confidence could translate into a valuable depth forward role as the club builds around youthful talent. Kent Hughes's trade ledger still shows a few misfires. While the rookie contracts for Dobish and Ivan Demidov top the off-season buzz, the earlier deals that never materialized into impact players linger as cautionary tales. Fans will watch closely to see if the front office can correct course before the stretch run. The 2026 draft saw Montreal abandon fanfare, targeting specific needs instead. In the late second round, the Habs traded up 4 spots to snag Timofey Runso, a player who slipped through the 2025 draft entirely. His selection signals a willingness to gamble on upside talent to fill roster gaps. Stay tuned, the Habs' next chapter is just beginning.
Thanks, Jason. Good Food, based in the heart of Montreal, has been granted creditor protection and is exploring a sale of the business. The Homegrown Meal Kit Company, which delivers fresh, chef-crafted recipes to kitchens across Canada, employs roughly 230 people in Montreal, Calgary, and Mississauga. While the court-supervised restructuring keeps the kitchens humming, the move signals a turning point for the city's food tech scene. For families in the Plateau and beyond, Good Food has meant convenient, locally sourced meals that fit busy lives. It's a reminder that Montreal's entrepreneurial spirit can weather storms, and that the city's flavor depends on innovators who stay rooted here. Its continued presence supports local farms, creates jobs, and keeps a vibrant culinary pulse alive in the neighborhood. Up next, we'll reveal how the Montreal police are using license plate cameras in a targeted probe. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Montreal Police Service confirmed the use of an automatic license plate recognition camera in a targeted investigation, capturing plates and vehicle details as cars pass through the city. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
Police officers stationed near the downtown intersection activated an automatic license plate recognition system as part of a targeted investigation. The camera captured each passing vehicle's plate number, make, model, and color, then stored the data for later analysis. Investigators will be able to query the footage to identify any car linked to the case. Officials confirm the technology is being used solely for this specific probe and not for general surveillance. The deployment was announced Sunday evening, with the force emphasizing that the equipment records only the visual details needed for the inquiry. The unit sits on a traffic pole and runs continuously while investigators pursue leads. No additional operations have been disclosed at this time. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
Residents of Blainville rally against Stablex's planned expansion of its U.S.-owned hazardous waste landfill, citing proximity to homes and fear of toxic exposure. The protest continues today. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Protesters gathered today outside the fenced perimeter of the Stablex hazardous waste site, holding signs that read "No expansion, no risk." They argue the proposed increase would push the landfill's edge closer to homes on Rue Principale, raising fears of airborne toxins and contaminated runoff. Residents, many of whom have lived in the neighborhood for decades, voiced concerns that the facility, owned by a U.S. firm, is already a source of foul odors and occasional spills. The expansion plan, submitted last month, calls for an additional 2 hectares of waste cells, which opponents say would double the volume of hazardous materials stored on the site. Police officers maintained a cordon while a handful of local officials listened to the crowd's demands. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Blainville.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's highlight, Oliver Jones's public funeral in Little Burgundy, reminded us how music shapes our city. Stay curious, stay connected, and tune in tomorrow for more stories that matter. We'll also keep you updated on the new school project in Park Extension and the upcoming road cycling championships. I'm Mark Beaumont, signing off.